I'm here today with Lawrence from Vodafone at our HFS Research Roundtable in London. Thanks for joining us, Lawrence.
Thank you for having me.
We've been chatting a lot today about what HFS calls services as software, which is a new paradigm of how services and software are coming together. So heard a lot of interesting things, but Lawrence would just love to pick your brain, especially on some of the pieces around what's going into new services models, in particular around vibe coding and agentic. Can you talk a bit about what you're working on in that regard?
I think the whole idea of services as software, it's really interesting. This is something we spoke about last year, but we really just touched on the concept. So it's really great to see how it's all evolved. I think services, of course, in Vodafone and VOIS, being a shared services organization, services is something we really deeply think about a lot. We're constantly thinking not just about how we can improve the services that we deliver to market, but also how we can improve those. And what's interesting about that is VOIS itself is going through a really big evolution just now. So we're moving from being a captive shared service organization where we couldn't make a profit or loss through to being a commercial shared service organization. So we've really got to think about now not only how we make our services more efficient, how we can kind of start to take cost out, but we've got to start thinking about how we can start to be more commercial, how our services can be more attractive to the market. I think all of this has coincided with software-defined workforces. What more can we do? What value can we bring? Can we get from our human workforce if you can start to now empower them? I think one of the other big things that we're thinking about is about digital sovereignty. The whole thing about digital sovereignty, which really talks about, you're thinking now we want more sovereignty over our data, over our infrastructure, doing more AI workloads, using that much more. We want that to be, in country. We want that to be on premises. We don't necessarily want to send really confidential information to the public cloud. So now we're starting to think about digital onshoring. One of the other elements that you spoke about as well was vibe coding. So vibe coding, interesting. Last year we had a very big launch of one of our key AI platforms. We've really embraced, I think, these new methods of how one works with AI. And I think that's really been, a great part of our leadership. So vibe coding is certainly something that we are experimenting with.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing these insights, what Vodafone's working on. I think these three areas are so super important. These more software-defined workforces, the digital onshoring that you mentioned, and now actually using vibe coding for, real projects and figuring out what it's useful for. So thank you so much for being willing to share that with us.
Thank you. You're welcome.